Welcome, guys. We're going to go over to Mike Johnson, his part on the meeting. I think that was like the most critical part of the meeting. He's basically talking about how the Democrats are just basically losing it. They're actually threats of violence, against other members, and they're also calling for people to have violence against like Elon Musk, the president. So we're going to get right into it right here and start playing. It's about 10 minutes long.
Thank you, Leader Scalise and these other members. It's a great day, but I've got to address a couple of things with you, and I need to start with something that's pretty serious. Chuck Schumer engaged in a lot of unusual activity last week, but among the most concerning was his invitation to activists nationwide. I want to quote to you what he said on PBS and I think in other venues, but this is what he said on that particular program, quote, "We are mobilizing in New York. We have people going to the Republican districts and going after these Republicans who are voting for this and forcing them to either change their vote or face the consequences," unquote. It was reminiscent of the threats he made to Supreme Court justices a year and a half ago or so on the steps of the Supreme Court. It's dangerous rhetoric, and that message was received. So we had far-left activists go into some of these events. They engaged in a physical altercation at least one of them, Representative Lawler in New York, just hours after he made that call to action. This isn't just a problem in that state, it's a problem across the country, and we had members who are rightfully concerned about threats of physical violence at their events and in their districts. In some cases, they even went to events for their children at school. It's gotten out of hand. That behavior cannot be tolerated. It's an enhanced threat environment for a lot of reasons, and we see Tesla dealerships being firebombed and all these things happening. It cannot be encouraged by leaders in Congress. So I am calling on Leader Schumer and Leader Jeffries in the House to put an end to this, to explain that threats of violence and intimidation like that is not an acceptable form of political protest. We all believe in free speech. I used to defend it in courts, but this is something very different, and it's a very serious situation, and they need to get control of that. Chuck?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I know what free speech is, but acts of violence is not part of free speech. If you're going to say you want to punch somebody in the mouth, or you call for people to go out and kill certain people or go out and punch certain people, free speech is no longer free.
Schumer and congressional Democrats are feeling the heat, and they're lashing out because of it. And we saw all sorts of unusual activity over the last week. It's well chronicled. The Democrats have no vision, no message, no leader. You heard about it here today. The American people have taken note. CNN found that just 29% of the people view the Democratic Party favorably now. NBC found the number at 27%. Quinnipiac poll over the weekend was an interesting one. Since they've been taking the poll, which goes back many years, decades, congressional Democrats are at their lowest approval rating with their own base ever. They're 9 points underwater. What's really interesting about that, Politico did a piece on this, and they contrasted where the Democrats stand and where we stand. While they're at their lowest number of all time, and they're 9 points underwater with their own base, congressional Republicans are at our highest mark ever, and we're at plus 69 points.
Holy cow, 69 points. Who would have thought we were in head on that one? I mean, who would have thought Donald Trump is making a difference? Who out there thinks that Donald Trump is making a difference? Let me know down in the comments below. Donald Trump or the Democrats? Who do you stand on? What side?
With their own base. That's a pretty stark contrast. And I think we all know why. Axios reported yesterday that Democrats are, quote, in their deepest hole in nearly 50 years. This is not a mystery. Everyone understands what's happening and why. In their haste to oppose President Trump and our efforts to make government more efficient, Democrats are cutting off their noses to spite their own face. Look, I've made a list of this. They're cheering the decline of an American company which employs over 100,000 workers. They refuse to celebrate the return of stranded American astronauts because SpaceX facilitated their return.
What the heck?
Without a hint of irony, they're trading in their electric vehicles for SUVs, as was noted earlier. All right, they
It's pretty ironic that the Democrats used to be the people of, Elon Musk and his self-sustaining car and no gasoline, and now it flip-flopped. Now all of a sudden they want their gas guzzlers and we want our self-sustaining cars, but not me.
They
I like
publicly
my truck.
refused to stand for a childhood cancer survivor, victims of violent crimes during President Trump's joint address.
That's right.
Their message has gone from, it's more than just
Crappy.
anti-Trump now, it's anti-American, and everyone sees that. And the polling reflects it. The American people are not stupid. They understand what's
right.
happening here.
We're not
We have a
stupid.
word of advice to our Democrat colleagues. If you want to pull yourselves out of the wilderness and the doldrums that you're in, get on board with the American people who support our common sense agenda. It is common sense to keep
Yes.
men out of women's sports. It is
Common
common
sense.
sense to secure the border and deport dangerous illegal aliens, as you
Common
talked about
sense.
earlier. It is common sense to make government more efficient and cut fraud, waste, and abuse, and do right by the taxpayer.
One more
We
minute.
are not doing these things because they're Republican priorities. They are priorities because it's the right thing to do.
That's
And the
right.
American people want the right thing to be done. And the Democrats are opposing it. And they see it very clearly. Republicans in Congress enjoy record high levels of
I see it clearly. I hope you guys can see it clearly too. It's called the Great Awakening for a reason.
approval because we're engaging.
Let me know down in the comments if you're a Republican turned Democrat or Democrat turned Republican. I just want to see because at one point I was a Democrat and then I switched to Republican because of Donald Trump. Now let me know in the chat if you were Democrat switched Republican or Republican switched to Democrat. That'd be awesome, Paul.
In what we understand to be simple truths, and we're delivering on it. We got a small majority, that's true. But this House GOP conference has stayed together and stayed laser focused on passing common sense legislation and executing the Trump agenda as quickly as possible. When we stay united, we do right by the people. We look forward to working with Leader Thune and our Senate counterparts to move that budget reconciliation bill. It will be the largest, most consequential piece of legislation in decades, maybe in one of the most in all of the history of Congress. We're excited to deliver that for the people, and we have no time to waste. We've got almost 80 million people that supported President Trump, and House Republicans. We all had our largest totals ever. We're going to do what they asked us to do, and we are not going to keep them waiting.
That's
And
right.
so you're going to see us moving aggressively here and across the country to make sure that happens. So
That is it. That is it. Mike Johnson laid it out on the line for you guys.
Thank you, Mr.
He out like nothing. I'm telling you, Mike Johnson's badass. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, Mike Johnson is badass. Hey, we're on our way to 1,500 subscribers. Imagine that, guys. Imagine that. It's because of you guys. We're all a big-ass team here. I appreciate it. And please like and subscribe and share this content, and we will see you on the next video. Thank you. See ya.